Where do I start? They say life imitates art. I'm trying to paint a picture. Paint a picture that's licking you scripture. I ain't just another nigga. Another nigga with a dream. It seems we finally made him all believe. A dream to be the reason we come to achieve the life that we would all kill for, even die for. I score, so sick, so sick. Sick and tired of these little kids talking grown shit.
That's not my name.
Mikael?
So close, but so far.
Can you say it right so we can know how to say it right? Mikael.
That's why I go by Mike, because every teacher in my whole life has gotten it wrong. Mikael. Like Mick and Kyle, but just smushed together.
Did you have black parents, the ones that tried to make creative names for their children? And so they came up with
almost an apostrophe, and there was going to be some other...
A dash?
There was going to be a dash. I was going to be Ladasha.
Mick Dash.
No, apparently if you're in Ireland, it is a common Gaelic Michael. I suggested my mom couldn't spell, and my mom was like, "Well, it's your dad's name, so your grandmother can't spell." But sure, no one knows. Like, my family's not Irish, so that's the other part. You're just like,
doesn't make any sense, does it?
No, my family's very English. I don't know. I just think they can't spell. I come from a bunch of Hicks, man. It's a mess.
Nothing wrong with being a hick, though.
Oh,
well, you said that. I didn't say that. Yo, guess what?
What?
All my fucking friends are here.
Yo,
what's good? Well, not all of them.
All right.
The ones that on Sunday nights I really want to talk to.
Yeah,
they're here.
Oh.
Let's do it. That took some mental energy.
That face
from
was,
Duane.
I barely made it here.
Yo, you ready, Papa?
Yeah.
You ready? Lo, you ready?
Of course I'm ready.
Mike.
Always.
You ready?
Always.
Pyre. You ready? Hey, welcome everyone to the Changing the Narrative podcast, episode 49. Isn't that cool?
Is it 49?
It's 49. It's 49, right? Duane.
I thought it was 50 for some reason. But 50 would be like, that's
our 1 year anniversary episode.
So that's a bigger.
Ooh, that sounds good.
I know.
It makes sense, and we didn't even realize it. But
I know.
It sounds good.
It's clean.
It sounds really good. Changing the Narrative podcast, where we provide transparent and unfiltered discussions around navigating life as aspiring entrepreneurs from the voices of men and women of culture, living in Atlantic Canada, CTN, where you meet to talk pop culture, race, business development, politics, gender equality among youth leaders. Mike, you're young, so that's why you're here with us. Of the artistic and entrepreneurship community. Why is that rude? What did I say that was rude?
I'm old.
You're not old. You're only old if you say it.
Youthful.
Yes.
I'm older than you.
That doesn't mean anything.
I don't know if I'm older than Duane.
You might be, yes.
I probably am.
Are you older than Duane?
I'm 37.
Yeah, I'm older than Duane.
Is there anything wrong with being older than Duane?
No, it's just funny when he's like, you're here because you're young. And I was like,
you are.
I think I'm young at heart. I like to think so, but
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love your heart. I love your youthfulness.
Thanks, buddy.
Regardless if you want to tell yourself you're youthful. Damn it, Michael. You're a young man.
Mikael.
Sorry.
She was spot on. I wasn't gonna say anything. I was just gonna let it slide. But
I'm gonna just call you Michael anyway. I could just call you.
Fine.
I should just call you Peach.
You could call me Peach. That's fine.
I should just call you. You want to tell everybody how you got the nickname Peach?
I suggested that I am white, and Terrence began to think of the correct color that I am, and he came up with Peach.
Yeah.
And then it's a cute nickname, so I think we've kind of run with it from now on.
Okay.
So,
Peach.
Yeah.
That's Peach. That's my buddy Peach. Thanks for coming. What's the voice going? Before we get started, I want to say thank you to everybody who listened to the Changing Narrative podcast on Apple Podcasts, and everyone who watches on YouTube and on Facebook. And if you're not on Spotify, well, if you're on Spotify and you're not following Changing the Narrative podcast on Spotify, that's where you should be.
I have a question about Spotify.
Go.
If you're on the free shit, like, what do you do? Does it still work?
Yeah, you just got ads.
Okay.
Isn't that how the free Spotify usually works?
I use Apple, so I have no idea.
Okay. I think it's
Lauren just like
Gasps from proud.
Lauren gave me eyebrows and Par gave me like the gasp to match the look that I got. No,
How
I
can you
just
not? It's just so convenient.
I'm an Apple guy, so everything just goes through Apple Music.
You know
as
what? I
you said.
hate my Apple products.
Really?
why?
Hate them.
Why?
Hate them.
Why?
Hate them because they're not intuitive. Okay.
See, and I have the
I was a BlackBerry woman until
Oh, fuck.
I was told that,
Here we go.
I'm in the Stone Age. I was harassed for it. And I've been unhappy ever since.
Given the fact that you're
serious?
suggesting
I'm dead serious. I am dead
you
serious.
BlackBerry people.
Seriously. Listen, okay. When I had the BlackBerry Z10, it was my first touchscreen phone.
That
I had
sounds
moved
so
on
old.
from... Listen to the technology that was in it, okay?
Go ahead.
When I swapped from a Z10 to whatever, my iPhone 5, yeah, I still have like an iPhone 5. It's
fine.
And yeah, I'm getting really big harassed about it though. Like, just switch on a new phone. Anyways,
Big harassment.
I hate having to do the thing and learn it all over again. So I'm like trying to wait until it dies. Anyways,
And then you're gonna get what? Because
Z10,
BlackBerry ain't making nothing.
I know. Well, I know. So I'm gonna try
Cybersecurity stuff
Samsung, I
now.
guess.
Sit down.
Try Samsung.
I actually, it's funny. I think part of it is whatever you really got used to, because I didn't have a smartphone before I had an Apple. I would use other things, and then now that I have it, if I try and use something that's Android, I'm like, I literally don't. I mash the screen. I don't have any idea what's going
My
on.
grandfather has a Samsung phone, and he's asking me to do stuff on it, and I'm like, bruh, you need to just get an iPhone.
Yeah, I know. I
can't help you until you get an iPhone.
I'm putting this down.
But the keyboard was so responsive. So like to this day, I've had my iPhone for like 3 years. You use it to text, man. Like that's what you're trying to do. I'm trying to like write emails. I'm trying to text. I don't want to have to backspace
It's Natasha
for the same words 3 or 4 years later after I've used the phone. BlackBerry, it just shifted the keyboard. So if you're always hitting Q instead of R and you're backspacing, it would shift it.
Actually.
It would learn.
Yeah.
That's like a million years ago.
That's
and
cool.
Like I hate my Apple phone. I hate it.
Oh,
That's fine.
Natasha's dad is in the building.
He's here.
He still got a BlackBerry.
My big thing is the seamlessness across all the devices. Like my big thing is that if I'm doing something on iPhone or iPad or Mac, I can just seamlessly work across all those things. And through AirDrop or even just like normal stuff, it's so seamless for me across everything. That's the big reason I got into it, and then I just got used to it. And
I get it.
Now
I just can't get
Same
behind
thing for me.
it. Sorry. I just,
okay.
That's okay.
I just can't.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
We love you, Lauren. if it makes a difference.
You must, or you would have just pushed me a long time
Listen,
ago.
I love the fact that we have a group chat.
You know
would
what?
be part of the group chat if you didn't
I
have an iPhone.
know. I know.
I am gonna give you some
Don't.
credence.
Why?
Because, I do feel like the intuitivity that has made Apple so popular and successful is now definitely falling off.
Mm-hmm.
The friggin' Apple Store, iTunes and everything else.
Well, you need to buy like adapters for your adapters
All that
for
shit,
your cords.
yeah.
Like,
It's
what
not.
the hell?
It's not as intuitive as it was for sure. The more like the things that they add in terms of trying to, but they're doing it to compete. But it's also making the things more complicated than they were and making the usability a problem.
when I upgraded to the newest iOS, so my wife hates change. I finally got her off a BlackBerry like years ago because I got her off a flip phone. She was like a doctor with a medical practice, and I was like, you
Is she
can't
happier
have this
now
phone
or
anymore.
before?
I think she was happiest actually during her BlackBerry day. She had the BlackBerry
See?
Pearl with that little
They
I rest my
love
case.
that.
thing that she
I rest my
pulled
case.
around. So, but she's gotten used to iPhone, and there's a bunch of things that she really loves about it. But when I updated to the newest iOS, I basically went to her and I was like, don't upgrade because I'm going to have to, you're going to throw this thing at me and I'm going to have to show you how to do everything all over again because it changed a ton of stuff in the new iOS. This all came because I was like, I don't use Spotify, and you guys all flipped out.
This is true.
That's where it came from.
I don't really use it either. That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
So I started using it at one point when I needed music, and then the ads thing got on my nerves because I didn't want to pay for this
Man,
service.
just pay, bro, or get Tidal and support the black man.
Yeah, but then you got limited access. I don't know. I just for a long time, I missed the download a free mixtape off the internet days.
You can still do that. It's just a process to get it from the computer to your phone.
Right.
It's not worth it.
And that's the other thing. Like
not worth
Apple
it.
fucking made all that shit way more complicated. So now I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah.
So then I
you.
bought in and just got the Apple.
I feel you. Mike, what are you drinking? Because I want one.
Today, you want to try this one, by the way?
No, I want my own. Prior, can you bring me a glass beverage, a cookie, and a Common Good Solutions mug? Shout out to Common Good Solutions.
So today, I am
Please and
drinking...
thanks.
Yes, please, thank you.
Today, I'm drinking something actually from one of our neighbors just around the corner. This is T North. T North is a local company that makes sugar-free, chemical-free iced tea that is delicious. My friend Dave Moore, who helps us do the PodCamp Halifax conference. Dave actually typically sponsors.
It smells amazing.
It's amazing. You can try it if you'd like.
Yes.
Dave usually actually provides it to us as part of PodCamp. Everyone gets a taste.
Very nice.
Does anybody else want a beverage?
There's just that
Yes,
one.
please, I would
That
like
is
a
the only
beverage.
one that's left.
What? I thought you brought more.
I just want water. I'm good. Thank you.
Oh,
I brought two and I chugged it. And
Oh,
then
you
I drank
pressed the other
second
one.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's why when you asked me, do I want some?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love some. Thank you.
Take
Is
some.
it sweet?
It is, but it's not like brisk where it's like overpoweringly sweet.
Yeah.
It just has like enough sweet. That one tastes like an orange creamsicle. Like it is legit good. And he's got a bunch of flavors. They're in Sobeys. They're in a few other spots. They're real tasty.
So how do they sweeten it if there's no sugar?
I don't know, magic unicorns? I have no idea. I have no idea. He's really active on Instagram. You can actually watch him like brew their stuff on Instagram all the time. He does live stories where they're doing their stuff. He's got a setup
T North
just down the road, and I like their stuff.
That's
Cool.
great.
So there you go.
Par, can I have a cookie? How you get 2 cookies? And I asked you for 1 cookie, and you eating 2 cookies, and you don't even bring them. She's eating two cookies though, for real.
Well, I brought
Good for her.
cookies so
It's
that
not cute, Mike. It's
she's
just
doing a lot of work over there.
I love
You're
it. I
just
love
sitting
Par
here,
here.
man.
See, Par, can I have a cookie, please?
See, there
Thank
you
you.
go.
Thank you
There you
very
go,
much.
cookies.
Anybody else want a cookie? Just don't eat them on the
thank
microphone. No, Par. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Don't eat them on the microphone as he crumples that container.
I'm sorry to our listeners and their ears.
Yeah.
Please forgive me. Let's continue the show. There's going to be an ad running this week because Sean McMullen came here and he recorded our episode. He made a little 7-second video that we're going to run as an ad so we can try to get some more listeners on the Instagram and the Facebook. So, Mike, do you know much about Instagram and Facebook ads?
Yeah.
So can we talk about how to make sure that the most people see this beautiful video creation that Sean has made?
Do it like now or
Not
just
right
like
now,
down
like-
the road?
like-
I thought you were like, now Mike's going to talk to us about Instagram and Facebook advertising. Yeah, we can talk. We can
Okay,
talk.
we should do that because I
We
want
do.
the most people to see Sean's creation.
It's not the most people, it's the right people.
You know what? It is.
It's the right people.
See, look at him dropping that knowledge already. It's beautiful. Be on the lookout for that. I went to Vegas. I'll talk to you about my Vegas trip later. But I saw Jeremy Saunders and the Sick Boy Podcast crew eating lunch at a random airport restaurant.
Nice.
Oh, did
And
you?
we crossed paths and we chatted. They were doing some speaking in Ottawa. And so I think we need to have an off-air conversation about the way to monetize our skills as speakers.
Okay.
Because there's some cool things happening out here and there's some information that we're knowledgeable enough to talk to some people about. And Mike, as a speaker who does speaking for free but also gets paid to speak, could speak to this.
I'll speak to whatever you need me to speak to.
Okay,
I
so-
spoke about chips and cookies and jelly beans earlier. I can speak about anything.
We have a vlog coming. We're making a vlog because it was Par's idea to come up with a vlog. I think it's a great idea. I think we could all concur. So we're gonna have some videos and things. So Mike was giving us a little prequel. That's the right word?
Prequels, correct.
Of your chip podcast and your chip expertise. You mentioned the Grey Cup. We were talking earlier about the lack of conversation in Halifax around the Grey Cup, and they want to also bring a CFL team here, which is very interesting. But the Grey Cup is today, which technically is 2 days ago for you who are listening on Tuesday. But the Grey Cup is happening. Who's predicting who to win? Ottawa versus Calgary. Go.
Duane, who you got?
I don't think it really matters. But
I like Ottawa as a city better because I've been there. I haven't been to Calgary.
okay, Ottawa. But one vote for Ottawa. Lord, go.
I don't know enough about either of the teams.
Just pick one. It doesn't matter. Just pick one.
Neither did Duane.
Calgary.
One for Ottawa, one for Calgary. Mike.
Who'd you pick? I spend a lot of time in Ottawa, and I have been to Calgary.
Worst fucking CFL fans ever.
And actually, Ottawa has offered me to come down and hang out on the sidelines with their team, so I'm rooting for them.
Nice.
And I also think that they're going to win. I think they're a better team. I think they're a better team right now, which is important in sports, to be the best team at the right time, not just the best team necessarily.
Go.
Okay, we're talking about topics, and I forgot this thing popped up. I didn't make a note of it, but so I don't want to derail everything. But just
Okay, so hold on. I pick Ottawa. Go.
oh yeah, sorry, you picked Ottawa. My bad.
For no reason.
Okay, so here's the thing. Someone made the argument the other day about why they pick teams versus players.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was. Were you involved in that?
No, I wasn't. But this is an interesting conversation. Go.
I
feel like I heard this
players versus teams. And this is the first person I really seen like make a firm argument for picking the team over the player.
Which was what?
They were just like, well, that's why I'm loyal to a team. And I can't remember what their friggin' argument was for why they're loyal to the team versus the player, but I almost was like, okay, I kind of get it. But then I think about it now, I still think it's stupid.
I grew up in a
Happy for a second, but you didn't trick me.
no, not at all. I grew up in a city where there were no professional sports teams.
Yeah.
So I was never loyal to a specific team because
Didn't Vegas get a hockey team?
we just got a hockey team last year and then went to
Okay,
the
that's
Stanley
a
Cup
whole
Finals.
And that is the only time when I think it makes
It's pretty
sense.
impressive.
Right.
Halifax Hurricanes, we should be Hurricanes fans because we're
Right.
from Halifax.
We only have one team.
Right.
Well, and the hockey team.
But growing up in Bermuda, guys are getting like
Right.
super arguments over which basketball team in the NBA you're a fan of. I'm like, none of us are from any of these cities. Who gives a fuck?
So you vote for players instead
So
of
I
teams.
vote for players. I'm like, yeah, why?
That makes sense. Yeah.
I think I picked a lot of my favorite teams based on players, and then I usually stuck with that team.
Right, yeah, I
Like
think that's what
afterwards,
most
like I
people
was like, I really love this player. They play for this team. That's my team now. And if they left, they left. And I usually still kind of stayed with it, unless there was some like extenuating circumstances. But I think too, like when I was growing up, because I'm young, but when I was growing up, players generally stayed in the same city for a much longer period of
Exactly,
time.
yes.
Like you had players that would play in the same place for like 20 years.
Yeah.
So it became easier to do that.
So, Duane, what's your argument then?
To Mike's point, like I was a Michael Jordan fan, huge, but he played for the Bulls for like his whole career, except for that.
Did you switch to the
time when
Bulls?
we don't talk about?
Did you switch to the Bulls?
No, so I was literally just a Bulls fan for the entire time I played. I was interested in basketball, and I learned basketball as a Bulls fan.
Right.
And then Jordan retires, and I'm like, I don't like this lineup anymore. I literally don't. I'm not interested.
I don't like this team.
I stopped watching basketball. Like I just was literally not interested. And then at that point, I started to like the Kings. I like the lineup that the Kings had. So then I'm like, I'm a Kings fan.
Sacramento Queens.
Yeah.
Oh, watch it.
That's one of my all-time
Watch
favorite
it.
quotes
Watch
of
it.
all time.
Watch it. Who were on the Kings when you were a Kings fan? Don't say Mike Doobie, Doug Christie, Chris Webber, and them.
Weber would have been there for sure.
Yeah, that was my team.
Yeah, it was because I think one of my aunts used to say I
Peja
looked like
Stojakovic.
Weber, and I fuck with them guys, man.
Vlade
So I
Divac.
was like, yeah, I like that
Bobby
team.
Jackson. Lauren don't know who the hell we're talking about. That's okay.
I did the same thing. I stopped watching hockey for 2 years when Wayne Gretzky got traded. Because I grew up as an Oilers fan watching Wayne Gretzky play, and then when Wayne Gretzky got traded, I was like, this is stupid.
that.
I quit.
I feel you.
And then I started watching the Penguins because Lemieux was there, and I was
Right.
like, okay, this guy's exciting too, and I'll follow that. And now My favorite team is Everton. My second favorite team is Pittsburgh. That's another question I have for anyone. Is whether or not you're allowed to have a second favorite team.
Of course.
I think you should.
Why can't
Because I
you?
have second favorite teams, and I get shit on all the time. So, like, you can't have two teams, and I'm like, why not?
Because what
no
happens when your
rules.
team doesn't make the playoffs? Then you need another
just
team
go
to cheer
home.
for. Yeah.
I think those people would argue that like you got to be diehard, you know?
No.
You have a backup team. What the hell, man? You're not like you got to ride or
But I don't
die.
think
You're
Trash.
number one.
That's trash. No,
But
that's trash.
I don't think backup team and second favorite team are the same thing. Like I don't think like if the Oilers are playing, I'm like, that's it. I don't care who they play. I want them to win.
There's a difference between having a second girlfriend and a side chick.
Is there?
Yeah.
I don't know what either
Yeah,
of these things
there's a number.
technically.
There's a number two. There's a number
I
two
guess,
in the lineup, and then the side chick is just come and go.
You can have two players.
So number two is more of like a permanent fixture.
Yeah,
than
she's a permanent
like,
fixture.
It's like playing 2-on-2 or playing 1-on-1 with the sub.
Yeah, you got a sub. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Does that make sense though? That's all. I was just trying to make sense of that. That's all. Keep going if you want. Otherwise, we can talk about something else. Okay, so we have CTN tubes coming too. We're doing some samples of CTN
Just in
tubes.
time. 'Tis the season.
Yeah, right. It's getting
Tis the
cold out here.
season.
We gotta get those ears
It
warm.
is. Listen, I was in Vancouver all week, okay? And it was like 3 degrees, raining. It was lovely. You could walk everywhere. And I come home to this shit.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Snow on the ground.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Seriously disappointed.
Yeah. Well, guess what? It's winter time in Nova Scotia, baby. Get used to it. It's been like this every winter. It's
There's
here.
been there's been school canceled 3 days so far in the
some
valley.
bullshit.
Really?
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah, and it there was like
Well, I know in
4
Halifax it's a lot
centimeters of
different.
snow, and they were like, we gotta shut
ready.
this shit down.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Like, I
Because
have
people
friends-
didn't have their snow tires on?
Well, because people didn't have their snow tires
Because
on.
last Friday there was like 80 accidents
Oh, yeah.
reported to
Oh,
the
yeah, it was
RCMP
a
by
mess.
noon.
Whoa, what?
Yeah.
It was the first snow.
It was the first snow last Friday.
And all those people that were just like I was supposed to have a meeting with a client, and they were like, I can't make it because I don't have snow tires on. And I was like, well, good luck trying to get them on now. Because
Yeah.
lineups are nuts. But I think, Duane's got kids too, and with this, is that now what they sort of do is if they cancel it, people get furious that they've canceled school. And if they don't cancel it, people are like, how dare you
Not
not
cancel
cancel
school.
it? And so there's a bunch of stuff that goes in. I don't think there's a win, but that's time they don't cancel
usually
school.
is.
It's,
You can't win.
Didn't I read an article somewhere? I don't know what town, but they were like, oh, there's not going to be any more snow days because if there's a snow day, we're going to stream classes online.
It's actually pretty smart.
Devastating. No, man.
Yeah.
You gotta, when you're in school, like,
What happens
elementary
when
school, you live for snow days, man.
What happens
Come on.
if you lived in a place
ultimate
that
gift.
didn't snow? Fuck that.
As me.
I already had a fucking snow day my whole life.
you didn't have a lot of
That's
snow
why you
days
gotta
growing
live
up.
with the seasons, man.
Nah, it's bullshit. Nah, fuck a snow day. You're gonna
Never even thought of that.
No snow days. We had a hurricane day once or twice, but no snow days.
Duane, do you have any cool merch that people can buy other than the Change in the Narrative podcast hoodies that can be found at artpaysme.com?
Yeah, all my new collection on artpaysme.com.
The one that you showed at Fashion Week.
Yeah, it's all there. Make New just made an order because they've been getting hit up by people on the street asking for stuff.
Nice.
I gotta deliver stuff to them next week.
Good.
So
Good. Cool. Artpaysme.com. Check out that APM. Google's looking for podcasts and creative people of color. Creatives of color?
yes,
December 2nd is the deadline. Google's partnering with PRX. It's a media company. Alongside a global advisory committee, they'll select teams to receive mentorship, seed funding, and an intensive 20-week training. Applications will be accepted around the world, and it's an opportunity for Google to invest in some people who are podcasting. So we're going to apply, damn it, because why
That's
not?
pretty cool.
And anybody
Nice.
else who has an interest in growing their podcast
Yeah,
and learning
do
how to
it.
become a, because
Very
that's
cool.
the thing is it's a new medium, and there's you can learn how to be a radio personality, you can learn how to be a film director, but who's teaching you how to be a podcaster in a thing that's exploded and is not going anywhere. You know, so it's cool to see Google, who has Google Podcasts. That's an app too. We need to get on there. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
So Google Podcasts, we gotta get on there.
So the other important thing about that is that one of the things you're trying to do is target marginalized groups who don't feel like they're represented in these things. So you don't have to have an existing podcast to actually apply for this and go for it. You can literally say, I want to start a podcast on this topic. I am a marginalized group and I want to get involved with this. So it's not just people who are doing it just a few weeks away from their 1 year anniversary. But it's also people who listen to this podcast got inspired and thought, I wish I could do this. Well, you can, and Google helps out. So
Cool.
It's beautiful. Speaking of our 1 year anniversary, it's next week, motherfuckers. Episode 50 is our 1 year anniversary. So that means we did miss 2 weeks. Actually, I think it was 3 in our 52. Somehow the numbers added up, but it's perfect. 50th episode, 1 year. That's kind of crazy, you know?
Yeah.
We did this every week for a year.
More or less. Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
There's a lot of podcasts that start, and there's a lot of podcasts that don't keep recording every week for a year. Like, I listen to a lot of podcasts. It's the same on a lot of different platforms. Same with video, same with blogging, where you're like, we're going to do this often all the time. And then like a month later, they're like, that's hard. We're going to stop. Like, that happens all the time. So it's pretty impressive. Yeah.
And we've had some bumps in the road, some rough patches, some life challenges, and some reasons why shit didn't happen how it was. But goddamn, we fought through that shit, and we ain't stopping, and we keep going, moving forward, and that's what it is. So congratulations to us. Thank you to all the listeners who've been listening from the beginning, those who started listening last week, and everywhere in between. We appreciate the shit out of you.
You know what? Speaking of that, I can't remember the name of the person, but there's someone in the Facebook group who was sending all kinds of love this week.
You know what? I will say, I think that's something that you guys should definitely get back to.
Because I love
Facebook. The shout outs like every week.
Oh yeah.
Like you guys used on the original like episodes of this every week. It was like, and it was a much, there were less listeners when you first started.
Right.
And so, but you were like every week you were like, Steve said we were awesome.
Right. Yeah.
Thanks, Steve. And like I actually think that there's I think that was pretty. Like I remember like hearing them be like, Mike Tanner said this show is good. Thanks, Mike. And I was like, that's really nice. Like, I think that,
Okay. Yeah.
She's already writing it down.
She's on top of things.
See, Par's one of our listeners from the very beginning, so
Runs the world.
now she's on the squad. You never know what happened if you listen to the Change the Narrative podcast.
I keep forgetting we're on video, and I keep wondering why you keep doing that. And then I'm like, right. Okay, yeah, that's cool.
We're just filming the things. We're trying to have some fun. Okay, so let's go through quick weekly updates.
Yeah,
we've got some fucking topics that we're ready to kick the shit out of. Lauren,
Oh my God.
go. What did you do the last week? And we missed you the week before.
I know. I was sick, which is really shitty. 'Tis the season, unfortunately. And then this week I was in Vancouver. I flew out on Monday. I had to be at the airport at like 4:30 in the morning. My favorite time of the evening.
Fun.
Just when I'd be like, mid-REM cycle. Love it. And had a couple meetings that day. And then I was in Kelowna, in and out on Tuesday. And then I was at the Realize Change conference on Wednesday and Thursday. So we screened The Social Shift, which is well received. And then on Thursday, I was on a panel about recruiting for impact and was representing P4G and just talking about some of the, challenges of rural recruitment. How to get people to move to your small town, and what are they doing for work, and how have you gotten creative about your recruitment process, and has that affected different kinds of entities differently, etc., etc.
Fun.
Yeah, and then
All the juicy shit.
and then our colleague Rodney kicked the crap out of his speech. It was amazing. He was like the keynote in the morning. So talking about being the change you want to see in your community. And he killed it. So very captivating. The man is very charismatic.
Shouts to Rodney Small.
Yes, absolutely. And just flew home on Friday. And now the time change is just like,
Boom. Yeah, jet lag's a bitch. Jet lag kicked my ass.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying, Dwayne?
I just wonder what Cologne is like. I've never been there.
it's kind of like a Calgary-ish, because you're like, when you fly in, there's like, you know, mountains, but it's like the Valley of Nova Scotia. They grow like 7 different kinds of apples there or something like that. So when you come in from the airport, you're driving through like orchards. Yeah, but right now it's kind of like here when all the leaves fall down, you're kind of like, it's not quite as lively as it is in the summer. Yeah, but it's good. Met some really cool people there too, and the weather's nice.
The
weather was warmer than here.
The weather was nice, and the jet lag was shitty. I experienced that as well because I was in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Ooh, was it hot?
It was like 21.
So with you,
So nice.
well, I went to Vegas.
Okay.
There was talk of the Strip, and then there's real Vegas. Is that a thing? Is that really a thing?
What do you mean we say real Vegas?
Like people would say, like the Strip isn't really Vegas per se.
No, it's not. There's way more. There's people and shit that live in the city. There's like lots of people that live, but the Strip is. It's just a bunch of tourists doing tourist shit.
Yeah.
Nobody lives there because it's all hotels and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, then there's this massive city, and it's a desert. So like until you reach the mountains, you can just keep building stuff. So every year or every time I go back, I haven't been home in like 5 years now, actually. But every time I go back, there's like some new building where you keep driving. You're like, where the fuck did that come from? That's new. But it's a cool city. I had a week to just turn off all the shit.
Oh, the best kinds of weeks.
I'm telling you, I might have answered like 2 emails, and except for just the conversations I wanted to have, I didn't talk to anybody. I just ate food and shopped and slept. I watched a lot of ESPN because they don't just talk about hockey, like American sports. It's fucking awesome. And I bought some shit. We were talking about Canadian sports earlier. I got my Vancouver Grizzlies Mitchell and S throwback on today, so I found it in amongst some other cool.
It's a great color.
Yeah,
by
I
the
was
way.
going to comment on that. 'Cause
Awesome.
That's a nice little. I saw Grizzlies. I was like, is that the Van or that's the Memphis? And I was like, okay.
Yeah, back when Canada had 2 NBA teams. When did the Grizzlies go? Does anybody know? Fun fact?
I don't know, but that sucks. I wish they stayed.
Yeah.
The only thing I really remember the Grizzlies, I remember Big Country Bryant Reeves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's like the only real.
Sharif Abdul-Rahim.
Oh,
he was nice. Yeah.
And was Stoudemire drafted by them?
Damon Stoudemire?
Yeah.
I don't know if he was drafted by them, but he played for them.
But he did play for them, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Or did he play for them, or did he play for the Raptors?
He played for the Raptors, I know that.
I think
but
he
I
played for the Grizzlies,
thought
too.
he was drafted by the Grizzlies and they moved around. Anyways, Big Country Bryant Reeves, I just think it's funny because he's the biggest, dumbest looking guy I've ever seen in my whole life.
He got them NBA buckets,
He
though.
looks like a bunch of marshmallows all stacked together.
NBA checks, too.
Yeah, he did, but like there's no player if you were like, I don't know. I'm not sure he's a smart guy, but I hope he's a smart guy.
You know
but
what,
he
though?
looks like a bunch of marshmallows.
I have to guard guys like that sometimes, and if they know how to use that weight,
You ain't
they
getting
are
around them.
dangerous.
Yeah, big boys, the big farm boys.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck on the block with them. And then I saw Mike yesterday, a few days ago, as the listeners are listening to this. We did a shoot with a client at Pete's Fruitique. We did some sampling, we shot some video, put together a nice little promo. I got to meet the babies. They were touching cactuses. Sorry, is it cacti?
Cacti.
Cacti. They were touching a whole lot of cacti. Yeah, they're fun.
I like the sound of cactuses better. I don't care if it's grammatically correct. Cactuses sounds good. You're right, damn it. I can say whatever the fuck I want to say. And then I hung out with Mike. Mike, what'd you do this week?
This is like peak dad duty week. So I had 11 kids in my house yesterday watching the Mighty Ducks while they sang I Like to Move It and jumped up and down in my living room.
Move it.
For like 2.5 hours. Yeah, that one. This is giving me flashbacks. So yeah, it's my son's birthday on Wednesday. Wednesday of this week is going to be the craziest week of maybe my whole life. So Wednesday is everything I've been doing for the last 2 weeks has been building up to what Wednesday is. So on Wednesday it is a PD day, which means I have my daughter in the morning. Then we're going to go to her parent-teacher interviews for pre-primary and French immersion. Then my wife is going to drop me off at the thing I'll explain in a second. And then she's going to go drop off my daughter and pick up my son because it's his birthday. So she's then going to take him out to dinner. And then she's going to pick up my daughter and take them both to swimming. And then take them both home and get them both to go in bed. And they don't go in bed very well when it's her because she's kind of a pushover and they don't see her as much as they see me. And I will be headed to Pier 21.
Yes.
To pitch for Volta Cohort.
Yes.
Where I will be trying to win.
How many dollars?
It's not just the dollars.
Sorry.
I will say the dollars. It's a $25,000 investment in addition to co-working space, private co-working space at Volta, and a board of startup CEO mentors for a year period. So myself and two founders are working on a project. And Wednesday night we pitch. I have 3 minutes to convince them that I'm it. And they accept up to 5 of the 15 applicants. Okay. And then so like Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, I either have $25,000 in an office or I don't. And
wow. You will have $25,000 in the office, sir.
That's the plan.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. And best of luck.
Manifest it.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck. Good luck, sir. Good. Duane, I know you got some fucking big news to tell us. Some crazy shit happened this week.
Crazy. So I got my house sort of. Yes, I have my house. My house is
Yay!
in my possession.
Congratulations.
Problem is I underestimated. Did I talk about this the last time? Because I feel like I talked about this already. Maybe I've just shared the story too many times.
What is it?
I do not recall.
Just how I underestimated how much stuff we had and how hard it was
on the weekend. Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay. Yeah. So we hired these movers. Did I talk about the movers last week?
No,
I don't think so.
So shout out to them. They refused to take their shoes off, which I get.
As long as you don't have carpet though.
But they didn't have.
If you have carpet, that's a problem.
According to my father-in-law, a professional moving company should have stuff to protect your floors to put down. And I was like, well, I don't know. I mean, I would assume so, but you just never know. So these guys show up and they don't have things to protect the floors. He's looking at them. I'm looking at them. They're like, we're not taking our shoes off. He's like, well, you're not coming in my house with those shoes. And I'm like, my stuff's got to move from this house.
They have my stuff in the truck.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So I run into the basement and go through all my art supplies, and I just start plastering whatever paper I could find and making paths all over the house so that they could walk on this hardwood floor and stuff. And then they get to my new house and it's the same situation. I'm like, okay, this sucks. But anyway, they moved all my heaviest stuff and I figured, I'll just rent a trailer and I'll tow the trailer and fill up my bins and things. Well, I made about 6 or 7 trips in this 12 by 6.
Oh my God, brutal.
I had a 12 by 6 trailer that I filled from top to bottom, mostly by myself, because Natasha didn't want too many people in the house and all that. So I feel like I'm about to like grow like 50 new muscles.
Yes. Fuck a workout, just move.
So between that and then like coming home and these guys who no wonder like construction workers like are generally fit because like screwing in things and using drills. Like my forearms all sore from like screwing things in and installing shit.
That stuff.
So Mike and I were kind of talking about the fucking
mounting a TV.
Mounting a flat screen motherfucking TV. So we got this mantle for the fireplace thing so that we could put the TV on it. Turns out the mantle is not wide enough to support the TV.
Oh no.
So my wife's like, well, we can mount it. I'm like, all right. We buy the mount. We figure out, okay, this should work. And then we're like, yeah, we got this stuff called shiplap on our wall. It's actually like wood. It's basically like wood over the wall. So I'm like, how do I mount this so that when I mount it, the TV is like 50 pounds. It doesn't fall off the wall. Because I don't think studs, wall hang anchors are going to be enough for this.
Right.
So I'm reading up, I'm Googling stuff online. Like, yeah, you need to get this in the studs.
Yes.
So I have an electric stud finder that I've never been able to figure out how to use.
Oh my God.
I finally just said, fuck it. I gotta get this thing. I'm knocking on the wall like probably 2 hours. I just didn't trust anything. I kept knocking to see if I could get the thing, and I finally was like, I gotta figure out this fucking stud finder. Finally figured out how to get it to work. You had to calibrate it. I didn't know. So I calibrated it, and then I think it's working. It's working. So I find the spots. The spots where I can hang it are not in the center of the wall. So I'm like,
oh my God.
I have to convince Natasha that no, it's fine because you can shift the thing.
Yes.
So it's fine. I think they do that on purpose just in case you run into this situation.
Right.
So she's like, okay. So we're measuring and measuring and measuring. This is like an hours long process because neither of us trust anything. And I'm like, it's a brand new house. Painted, shiplap shit that's stuck to the walls to make a fancy fireplace or whatever. So I'm like, I don't want to be the guy to fuck this up.
Not on day one.
No.
Oh my God.
So I'm not a handy dude. I'm not a hand. I keep telling Natasha, I don't want to do this shit. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I want to paint. I want to like make decisions about interior design, but I don't want to do this shit.
Yeah.
But I have to do it.
I don't want to hang a fucking TV.
So like this shit, the rack itself is heavy. So I got the drill and I measured and I'm like, this is it, Natasha, what do you think? The hole's going right here. Then she's like, yeah, okay. She goes upstairs, do laundry, because she couldn't deal with the stress of like watching me do this. And so I started drilling and I'm like, yeah, I'm starting to get good with the drill now. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh, you got cute with it, didn't you?
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, these holes looking proper. Fucking mounted the shit. It's heavy.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, yo, I gotta use the drill to screw these screws in because they're not going in. But I could never figure that out before. I always strip the screws. So I'm like, no, I'm getting nice with the drill. So I could try it. And I actually was able to screw stuff in with the drill. So
okay.
I'm like, yeah, shit. Go to mount the TV. It's like 50 pounds. So I'm like, by myself, like, it's up high. And I finally got it up. And then I look and I'm like, oh. So we had this fancy box built into the mantle where all the outlets go so that you can hide all the wires. Well, somehow I managed to put the holes too high so the fancy box is still visible. So Natasha comes down before I could say anything. She looked at it and she's like, Duane. Yeah, I know. So she fucking berates me and whatever that word is. I'm like, this ain't my shit. You know this ain't my shit. I don't want to do it. Fuck. And then finally she's like, you know you have to take it down, right? I'm like, yeah.
Oh man, that sounds heartbreaking.
Yeah. So I wrecked our new wall. Luckily,
but you fixed it.
I fixed it. Luckily, the holes are hidden behind the TV.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But she's like, I can still see the holes when you go next to the TV. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
You win some, you lose some, baby.
Can I ask
tough.
how tall your wife is?
5'4".
Okay. So one of the best things in my life is that my wife is 5'1". So as long as I make mistakes that are high enough, she can't see them. So in our bathroom, we used to have this light that was above this mirror, and she always hated the mirror. So I was like, okay, we'll take out the mirror. She's like, well, I want this new cabinet installed. I'm like, sure. So I go to install the cabinet and realize I got to take that light out. But whenever they made it, there's this big honking hole in the wall where the light was. And so I like put it up and I lowered myself down a little bit and was like, she can't see that. So every time I go into the bathroom, I can see that there's like a hole in our wall just above this thing. And like I have friends who've been like, you know you got a hole there. And I'm just like,
shut up, yo.
Shut your mouth. She can't see it.
That's that.
Just let's roll with this. So
That's great.
Yeah.
So you got the TV up. You're in the house.
So the house, it looks dope. I'm happy about
Good.
it.
Congrats.
But there have been a number of those little things I fucked up. Well, when I was still trying to get my bearings with the drill, you know, just screwing in a curtain rod, and like they did such a good job of putting the insulation in the wall that the insulation got tangled up in the drill bit and dragged it out of my hand. So I went and cut a hole in the wall.
Oh my god, I would be devastated. Listen, I'd be so pissed.
She came and looked at it.
no.
She's like, Duane! Like, I know.
Oh.
So, you know, these little things have been kind of happening in a brand new fucking house. And we just have to, she's like, you know what? There are a lot of things that I've been having to just get past and get over. And I'm like, I know.
And thank you for that, my love. You're such a kind woman.
So, yeah.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, that's just been my week. We took the week off, so the week it basically, all the stuff. So we filled up the garage because of all those trips. And we've been literally, as things come in, taking it out, unloading it. Do we need this? Do we not need this? This is a pile for garbage. This is going here, this is going there. So we had a house 10 years ago. We know that if you don't do it right away, guess what? That shit stays in your garage for the entire year, 10 years, and you never get to use your
100%.
garage for your car.
Yeah.
So we just decided we're not doing that this time. We're getting it. But that just basically means we've had to, all the kids missed all their activities for the week. I was fucking off the internet. I was just full on wake up, do shit for the house until I pass out, and then wake up and start over again.
Did you finish it all?
No.
Of course not.
Fuck, I know. I was like, tell me that maybe like I'm the only piece of shit that can't get it together.
No.
2 years
so
later.
yeah, now we're back to work. We were Saturday. We were back to the game, basketball games and all that. And now we're going back to work tomorrow. And so weekends are the only time we're gonna have to do the rest of it now. So
Get to it.
yeah. Anyway, but it's positive. It's good.
Yes.
We're trying to manifest the positive. We
There you
own a beautiful house in a beautiful neighborhood. And be positive. Yes.
What do the girls think?
The girls love it.
Yay!
Yeah.
I want to kick them in the ass sometimes because they've been difficult. But
Of course
you
they
know,
have
they love it. So it's good. And it's good to be back in Timberland. Shout out to Bowers Construction. They
There you go.
built it.
There you go. Dope.
Oh, Robin. Sorry, Robin Cox of Birch and Britches. I hope I get it right. She was our interior designer. Helped us out.
Nice.
So shout out there.
Nice. Shout outs to everybody. Help make Duane's house. Before we get into any topics, I just want to let everyone know, except for Lauren, we need to get. This is why we need the merch, Papa.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I got my APM on. Mike got his APM on. Duane got his APM on.
Oh,
Gotta be
yeah,
repping the
sorry.
brand.
Sorry.
I know it's okay. We're gonna get it. That's why we got 2%.
I'm also hoping I can get some kind of sponsorship deal where they just give me donaires.
KOD.
Yeah, you got that KOD. You put it on. That's actually kind of dope. So. See that camera? I tell you, see, that's why you gotta look at the camera like this. See, let them know you're talking to them.
Need the Zoom.
All right, yo. Where do we even begin? Because we got a few topics.
Just jump into it. You know.
Mike, do you want to read this tweet?
Yeah. Do you have the tweet?
Do you have a tweet?
I can get it.
Pull up the tweet on your phone.
So while I'm bringing up the tweet, I'm gonna tell a joke.
I hope it's funny.
It's kind of funny. It's related to this, and it's the joke that this guy John Mulaney gives.
Oh yes.
And he's talking about the idea. I'm gonna have to find that in a minute.
It's in the group chat.
But John Mulaney, is it in the group chat?
Yeah, it's in the group chat.
So John Mulaney is talking about how one time he was doing an award show on TV, and he had a joke, and in this joke he wanted to use
The word midget.
he wanted to use the word midget, and this exec brought him over and said, "You can't use the word midget. It's worse than the N-word." And John Mulaney said, "Wow, it's not worse than the N-word." And he said, "You know how I know is because we just said the word midget, and we're still saying N-word. Like we won't even say the other word. So if you're trying to come up with like what will be worse, it's always the word you won't actually say." So I'm trying to find this here, and I'm slow at it, but.
Keep going. It's in the group chat.
I'm looking in the group chat, but I'm having trouble finding it. Yeah, here we go.
There you go. There it is.
So this is Terry Rossio. Terry Rossio is
Fucking
a
asshole.
Disney writer, producer guy who has been involved with like tons of huge Disney productions. I believe he's involved in Lion King. I believe he's involved in Madagascar.
Isn't the Lion King and some of these Disney movies have some racist undertones in them as well?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so
Walt wasn't the most. Anyway,
we'll preface with that.
So he said, "My heart goes out to all the parents of vaccine-damaged children who have to not only endure the sadness of their loss, but also the vitriol of ill-informed and insensitive people such as those here. Anti-vax is equivalent to calling someone and he, by the way, did not use the N-word. He wrote it out. I won't say it. And makes as
Why
little
not?
sense.
Why don't you say it?
If it's not a rap song, I'm not saying it. I'm not.
So you're admitting that.
So this was actually one of the reasons I want to talk about it. Is like, first off, that's obvious garbage. Like, it's ridiculous to suggest that there's really any word I can think of off the top of my head that would be equivocated with the N-word,
Right.
Like that. Like, I can't come up with it. But the other thing is like,
there probably isn't.
I don't know. I can't imagine one, but
No, I want to say yes and no.
Okay.
I want to say no because it's probably the first word in our culture where we've really kind of done that. But then if you think about like, say like a Jewish person, the K word,
Right.
Yeah.
There's an S word for Aboriginal women. I remember I was hanging out with this Aboriginal girl one day, and the dude thought it was funny to like refer to some of the girls as this S word, and she flipped. So I was like, yeah, that's a word you don't say. And then there's the F word for gay people. So in some ways I feel like I'm noticing in the culture we're starting to do that, where we're referring to those words by their letters and not what they actually are. However, culturally,
right.
The N word is, I don't know, it's got more to it, maybe
More girth.
yeah.
I grew up. My mom is gay, and so I grew up around the gay community a lot.
Oh, okay.
And heard the F word said to a million guys.
Yeah.
And I never saw the same reaction from them that
The N word.
the N word gets from that thing. So I don't know. It's not that I think that's not a word that is awful.
No,
Especially when you actually go to the root of the word, you find out what it is. You're like, it's not okay at all. But yeah, I haven't seen anything that has that same visceral impact as that. And to just suggest that it can just be like, again, the John Mulaney joke, I mean, it's perfect because you're like, we won't even say the other word. Like, clearly it's not worse. But rap music. So I am a white man who listens to a lot of rap and hip hop.
Yes.
No recent stuff. Basically, every time Terrence tells me a current rapper, I have no idea who he's talking about. I did get my kids, by the way, this weekend to be really into It Takes Two by Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock.
Okay.
That's now their first request when we get in the car, so I feel like I'm doing well as a parent. But I will, if I am all alone, I will use full lyrics of songs that include the N-word.
Right.
But I don't know if that's okay or bad or not, or I literally, and this isn't me being like, oh, I'm gonna be flippant about it. I have no idea. I just go, I'm gonna just sing along to this song and
Right. Okay, so as a white man, that's how you feel. Lauren, I'd be very intrigued on your perspective on this, because as a person of color, and there's certain people of color that are allowed to use the word. There's certain people of color that aren't allowed to use the word. And I'm not saying that you use the word, but I'm just curious, like, do you rap and sing along? Like, how do
No, I don't. Like, that word makes me really uncomfortable.
Why?
Because of so many, like, the persistence and the history of the negative connotation with that word, like, I just don't think you should use it. Like,
What about the C word for Asian people?
Yeah, like, that's not so great either. But it's, I don't know, particularly around here, right? Like, African Nova Scotian community's been here for 400 plus years, and there's just a lot of weight behind some of that stuff. So I just try to not use it, period. I don't know.
Does it make you
that's my
uncomfortable when you hear...
Totally. It's like, it's just really cringy. And this is coming from me, who's like a sailor mouth, right? But that's just like not a word that I say.
That's probably for the best. Mike, on the other hand.
I don't. Go. Sorry.
I guess my thing is like if I'm, and I guess I probably don't even always, but there are songs that I absolutely do if I'm singing along to that song at home that I will.
Like what song?
Well, he likes Wu-Tang, so.
I like Wu-Tang, but I'll be honest, I don't understand what they're saying a lot of the time, so I don't go along
Like
with
the
a lot of
references that they're making?
with that, and sometimes I literally just I can't understand it that clearly. I was listening to Jesus Walks the other day.
Okay.
And I said it in that. And I said it in Forget About Dre, during Dre's verse. I'll sing it during that, like, cause it just gets in that kind of, but I would never, like, I grew up, so we were talking earlier about me being a hick and my family being a hick. My family, when I was like 15, upgraded, in the video series you can see upgraded to the word colored fella to refer to someone who was black. And they were like, I guess this is what we call them now. And I was like, it's not. It wasn't what you should have been saying before. It's, I guess, better than what you were saying, but like, you know, I come from like a very rural conservative who would no qualms about using that word.
Right.
Like easy peasy in like everyday conversation, would just drop that word and a host of other words. Like most of my family have never met my kids because honestly, I don't want my kids to be around that. I have no interest in my kids being around that. So like a few family members have, but so I come from that background of it being perfectly acceptable to say.
Okay, here's the question. Duane.
Yeah.
As black people, should we be offended by Mike's use of the N-word during his rap sing-alongs?
I don't want to tell anybody how to feel. I'm not personally offended. Like I've seen like comedians make that joke with the white guy at a rap concert and they're just watching him to see if he's gonna say it.
Kendrick brought some girl on stage and she sung it and she said it like it was nobody's business.
And then he got mad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is that. And I remember like my brother had a roommate at one point, and he said it in like a joke. And with us, it was like
with the hard R?
I can't remember. He was just fucking around. And like,
Lauren's making awful faces.
We were like, dude, like, with us, we're cool. We know you're fucking around. You're just joking. You say that to the wrong dudes, you're getting punched in the face.
I just don't think it's necessary.
So,
do you know what I mean? Like, under what circumstances is it necessary?
No, it's just, it's not. It's never. But I get it. Like, when I'm rapping along, there's for instance, like with the F word or whatever, if I'm listening to one, like rappers don't really say that anymore, but if I'm listening to some older rap, they'll go in with the F word, and I don't say that anymore. You know what I mean? And I did at one point. I'll be real, I did, and I took it out of my vocabulary. But sometimes if I hear it in an older rap song, I might let it fly. So I get it. It's just, but it's one of those things where I'm like, keep it to when you're alone, because you just never know.
There's a scene in the movie Office Space. So at the very beginning of the movie Office Space, they're driving on the road to get to work, and this character's in the car, and he's listening to this like really hard rap. He's got it way cranked up, and he's like going on, and then like when someone pulls up beside him, he like turns it right down. Like a black guy pulls up beside him, and he like turns it way down, and is like, honestly, just really silently, and then cranks it back up again once it passes.
Honestly, what?
I actually do that.
You turn
it down or turn it up?
Turn it down.
You turn it down.
And I think it's the dad in me.
Why?
I think it's the dad, and I think I grew up in a super conservative culture where like you don't curse, you don't whatever. And then the N-word thing really bothers me, because I don't listen to nothing but shit with the N-word in it. So the last thing I want to do is pull up next to this white person and this shit is blasting out of my car, and I look over at them, they look over at me, and it's like, nigga, let's fuck this, Bob, I'll shoot your ass up, and then I'm just like, turn that down a little bit.
Are you Terrence offended by my sing-along use of that particular word?
Man, white people been saying word nigger. White people came up with that shit and been using it like that to be like so mean.
Especially hard R when you say it. It is.
Does it sound gross? But here's the thing, right? Like, who gonna stop people from saying what they say in the privacy of their own space? Don't come outside and say that shit. Don't say that shit around the wrong people. But if you want, like, if people knew the things that people thought and said in the privacy of their own life, we would all be in jail. And that's not even on no racist shit. That's like the things that go through people's minds and the things that we are comfortable doing on our own are fucked up, yo. Fucked up. So if you say the N-word while you're singing Jay-Z, are you going out and shooting black folk and lynching?
I'm trying not to at all.
Continue to try not to. I guess it's, how are you using the word in what way? And I feel like this Black Twitter would be very angry at us for.
They would. I think they would.
Two black dudes sitting
wearing a woke shirt at that.
Right.
I'm not woke enough. So anyway, fuck you guys. Anyway, I don't give a fuck about any of that.
You don't want to start a fight with Black Twitter, do you?
I do. Listen, listen.
Dwayne all worked up. Good God. It's too late on a Sunday night to get Dwayne all worked up like this.
I don't conform to anybody's standard but my own. My mother raised me a certain way, and that's it.
It's very smart.
You know? Because Black Twitter's not going to police me. The black community here or anywhere else is not going to police me. The white community, fuck you too. You're not going to police me. I'm going to do what I feel like is appropriate. Or not appropriate, if I feel like it. So, that's that.
God damn. I love the way.
That's the soundbite of the year.
I like it. Yeah, it's great. Okay, so I have mixed feelings about this topic because I know that we're going to mention it in our write-up and we're going to tag shit, and I also found it really funny. I actually wrote this in the notes that I was doing my research for this topic, and Global Canada actually was the article that I read, and I was like, what the fuck? Global News is covering this story? Really? So Tekashi 6ix9ine.
They called it that.
They covered it, and they broke down the whole scenario. So Tekashi 6ix9ine is a rapper from Brooklyn who's going to jail, or who's in jail. He's been arrested by the FBI under a 5-year investigation for racketeering and guns charges. Yeah. So the feds have picked this man up, and he's been allegedly charged with a whole bunch of stuff. And I thought it was funny that Global News is covering this because even they need their clicks.
Yeah.
So that was my prefacing with we're going to talk about a topic that I don't know we even necessarily know a lot about, but we're going to talk about it because people would be interested in it. But I feel like that's the beauty of what we do is we try to talk about it from a different perspective than most people who are just like, hey, this cool rapper with face tattoos is going to jail. I think Tekashi's interesting because his life is like unfolding in front of our eyes, and it's like we're really seeing this kid who, like, you can go back and Google Daniel Hernandez, and he's just like a little Mexican kid who just looks like the average little Mexican kid. And over the course of time, he's got 6'9" tattooed all over his body and his face, and he's got face tats, and he's got rainbow hair, and he looks wild and crazy and entertaining as shit.
And his rap style is like reminiscent of Sticky Fingers from Onyx, just like very raw,
loud,
punk rockish almost.
Yeah, angry, just like I'm gonna murder you and everybody you know.
Yeah,
and so that's why he's up for racketeering charges, obviously, and gun-related offenses. But I thought it's interesting, and Kevin Hart's made this point when he got caught up in his little cheating scandal, in the fact that people love watching someone go up, reach the top, get to the top, and fucking crash and burn, and their life fall apart in front of everybody's eyes. And I thought that the Tekashi story was very interesting because I feel like that's what's happening. I feel like that's why it's interesting. That's why Global News is covering it, because we're seeing this little Mexican kid who is an internet troll.
He's a troll.
He's learning from 50 Cent, who's one of the world's greatest.
And 50 calls him his son.
So you're learning. Yeah. He's learning how to.
Literally, it's funny.
He's going to Chicago, riding through the streets of Chicago,
trolling gangbangers.
I'm out here, come see me. His favorite thing to tell people is to suck his dick, suck my dick, suck my dick, suck my dick. And he's got 20 security guards because he talks reckless like this. And he's been shot at multiple times. And we're literally watching the demise of this young person. And we're fucking entertained like crazy by it.
Dude, so there are a few things.
Which is fucking crazy.
Charlemagne has warned him.
Over and over.
Yeah. Over and over. Dude, you're bringing super negativity to yourself. Your talent. You can actually rap. Stop fucking around. Like, there are people who take this very seriously and they will come see you. So there's that. Then I saw this interview with him with Fat Joe. Did you see this?
I haven't seen this one.
So Fat Joe was talking to this dude and he said, listen, the feds tried to get me the way they got Bobby Shmurda. They are going to try to get you. This was long before any of this shit happened. Yeah. It's like, you keep putting this energy out here, I'm telling you, they're watching you, they will get you. They tried to get me, they couldn't, they're going to try to get you. And he's like, no, trust me, they're watching. They are watching. And
like the police don't use Instagram.
He's fucking stupid. And then, with the whole 50 thing, like 50 saw, this guy's a troll just like me. So 50's latched onto him and saying, this is my son. And they're posting videos together, trolling people and whatnot. But then, I haven't heard Charlemagne's take on it yet, but it's almost like, and I told you so. Like,
yes,
he's had people.
He interviewed. Tekashi was on the Breakfast Club again, and like a week ago.
And did he say he realized that what he was doing was wrong?
He don't care.
He don't care. Okay.
And Charlemagne said, "I told you this was going to happen. I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen, and it's happening. And he's in jail. He's in prison."
Did you see what happened? Okay, so I watched TMZ. That's another one of my guilty pleasures.
Yes.
So apparently one of his boys. This is the other dumb shit that's going on. See, I feel like Tekashi is the physical embodiment of what's wrong with the social media era kids.
Okay.
Where
keep going.
The internet troll era of I'm just gonna say anything because I'm on the internet. And no one's going to be able to get me. But he's so public that people can actually get him.
Right.
He's not anonymous.
Right.
So it's a problem. So he's on his boys,
rainbow fucking hair.
right, and he's on stage. People can get him.
Yeah.
So I guess TMZ had this video of him on the phone, like video chatting one of Chief Keef's cousins, because Chief Keef's always beef from it. And he's like, they're talking shit back and forth to each other over video chat, which is
The hardest thing since we're
Hold on, I'm gonna FaceTime you.
Yeah, I'm
talking
FaceTiming.
gang shit to a cell phone. You're not even in front of them.
right. It's like, so where I'm gonna come see you? Yeah, I'm gonna come see you. Yeah, okay.
Hold on, say that again, fam. Was buffering.
You share your location on Google Maps and this is going down.
It was
Well, if you
buffering.
Snapchat it, you can just like follow each other like buddies, you know?
Right. It's just
Isn't that a feature now?
it's funny. So one of his friends is filming this exchange, and then he hangs up and he goes, "Yo, 30 rats, whoever, go get him." Or something to that effect. So basically, they're like, we've got video of him ordering a hit on this person. So that's one of the things that the feds are using to get him. So like, just like these, like they're filming themselves.
And
doing
but we love it. What's wrong with humans?
I think like you're talking too about the idea of like we see the rise and then what we want to see is the fall.
Right.
But I think what people also see is they see that rise can happen if we do these things. Like we've basically said as a society, like you do enough dumb shit and we'll pay attention to you. You do enough totally stupid shit and we will pay attention to what you're doing. And we'll put you up there. And then when you crash, we'll watch.
Yep.
And we'll laugh.
Yep.
And we'll think this is all a big joke and stuff. But like attention is it's a what's the word I'm trying to
Commodity?
not commodity, the same idea, but like I suck at words right now apparently. But it's an economy. Like attention is straight up an economy. Like it is worth something. It is physically worth something. And when you basically, the fact that TMZ is showing like these videos of people doing these things, and you're just like, well, all I got to do to get on TMZ, which is going to be a big boost for my career in most cases, because even if it's bad news, it's still people paying attention to you. And so you end up doing just the dumbest shit because we, as the overall Earth, have decided like, sure, do dumb shit and we'll pay attention to it. Like that's what we'll pay attention to.
Yeah.
You know exactly how I feel about that.
I just like the sound of your voice.
I know, but to build such wealth off of doing nothing, like I can't. Like the Kardashians blow my mind. Like I just do not. The fact that so many young women like look up to them and talk about them like they're positive role models, like I just.
You don't think the Kardashians are positive role models to young women in society? Why not, Lauren? They're businesswomen. They're businesswomen. Mm-hmm. You don't think the Kardashians are businesswomen?
Get serious.
I'm serious.
They are.
They are.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be making such a fortune off of like promoting negative stereotypes about women and the things that they should be doing to themselves to be accepted, you know, and have value.
You've seen the Kardashians speak. Like you've seen like clips of the things they say.
I saw Kim Kardashian talking to Donald Trump about prison reform. Did it happen or did it not happen? You guys look at me like I'm
You
crazy.
didn't see the actual conversation though, because I feel like the actual conversation was something like,
So I think that there is certainly a large money making machine that is involved in the Kardashians, but I don't look at the Kardashians as businesswomen in the same way that I look at someone who comes up with a product, markets, figures it out, and goes through with it.
What's Kylie sells lipstick? No.
she does.
Kylie sells a lot of things.
Okay, so here's the thing is,
So women got sex appeal and they can't use it to monetize.
I think there's lots of women historically who have done a great job of monetizing their sex appeal.
Men should not be able to tell women what they can do with their bodies and how they should make money.
I'm not
off it.
telling them what they should do.
I used to watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, like OG, like early on, and I remember I was a fan. They were business women in the sense they had their Dash retail spot. I'm sure they probably still do. And they used to show them like going into the Dash stores, and I'm sure it was obviously scripted in some way because it was, you know, for the show. But they would talk to their retail staff, and then they were talking about opening new locations and doing all that kind of stuff. And then obviously all this other stuff like became way bigger than their actual retail thing, and it just became about just their life in general and not like them also doing Dash and whatever else it was. So they realized that they were the actual product, and they put way more effort into marketing themselves as the actual product. That machine that you're talking about, that developed over time as a result of that happening.
Right.
Then you got the younger ones that came up. They were just born into it because like Courtney and Kim and Chloe already set the foundation. So they were little kids when this first started up.
Right.
So for them, I don't find like it's hard for me to give them as much of the respect as business people, because I feel like they already had the machine to like, oh, you want to have a new product line? Sure, we have a team already for that. We can introduce you to a designer. We can introduce you to this and that and that, and then you just have to say, I like that one, and we go forward. So, but I feel like if you look at the older sisters and Chris, the mom, I feel like they built the foundation.
I think Chris is a businesswoman.
Chris is
100%. I think Chris is a businesswoman. I don't think she's a nice person, but I think she's absolutely a business person. I just can't see the.
And that's the thing. My thing where I'm torn is I see what Lauren's talking about, where I'm not going to tell my daughters to go and do what they do, but that's like personally my own personal thing. But I don't necessarily have a problem with it either. You know what I mean? I just don't necessarily feel like.
You ain't got no problem with strippers.
No, I don't have a problem
long
with
as
any.
your daughters don't come home and say, "Daddy,
Yeah.
this is what we do."
Yeah, exactly.
No, and that's it. And it's like I don't have a moral thing against it. It's just
No, it's just a tough pill to swallow.
it's a tough pill to swallow.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, really? Okay, so these are the things that we're gonna celebrate businesswomen for. Is just, you know.
Yeah.
They get $250,000 for an Instagram post.
It's a lot of money.
For literally just being like, I like this.
There's something.
$250,000.
But you know what? There's something to that.
There's 250,000 something to that. But
I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna squish this one together.
All right, let's do it.
Tory Lanez versus Joyner Lucas. Now, Lauren, I know you don't know
I don't know lots of stuff.
hip hop, but
No.
there's a more broad conversation that we can have about this.
Okay.
So Tory Lanez, Joyner Lucas, they decided to have a rap verse exchange, a rap battle, friendly. Hey, Tory Lanez is on Instagram Live. He calls Joyner Lucas the Joyner Kid. Joyner Lucas says, "How dare you? I challenge you to a duel." So,
What the fuck does that even mean?
Joyner writes a rap. I think Tory started. Tory wrote a rap. Joyner writes a rap. Tory writes a rap. Joyner writes a rap.
What's a Joyner Kid?
His name is Joyner Lucas. Yeah, remember that song, I Am Racist?
I'm not racist.
Well, says the guy.
Oh, yeah. Yes, okay, I do remember that. Yes, I do.
That guy.
That guy.
Okay, yeah,
So
got it.
him and they go back and forth. But it was was encouraged, and it was like, all right, so we're gonna do this thing. We're gonna have some lyrical exercise.
Okay.
Get our bars up, get our practice on. And so they went back and forth, kindly and peacefully. A little bit of disrespect within the bars, but it was, hey, let's rap, let's go back and forth. So some friendly rap competition.
What was the TSN turning point? There must be one.
Well, Joyner Lucas chose Liddy, which is a Tory Lanez song, which is what Joyner Lucas often does. He takes your song and he raps on your song better than you often sometimes. However, after Tory Lanez did this, or after Joyner Lucas did this, Tory Lanez rapped on his beat again. The song was originally it was called Liddy. This version was called Liddy Again. So Tory Lanez kills his own song again. And that to me was, okay, he wins. The raps were a little bit better. I enjoyed the exchange. It was friendly. It was, you're good, I'm good. Let's have some fun. Enjoy it for the fans. Now, Kanye West and Drake, who we historically know there's been some uneasiness between the two of them. Rumor has it that Drake and Kim Kardashian may or may not have had relations in the past.
Oh my God.
I'm just reporting rumors. They're not facts.
Rumors.
I don't really
God's
know.
factory.
But it's a story that's out there floating in the streets. So apparently, Kanye was feeling a bit of ways about Drake. And Talib Kweli, did anybody know who Talib Kweli is? So Talib Kweli was on Drink Champs, and he was talking about working with Kanye. Hold on one sec. I'm just going to find this. They were working on some songs together. Okay. And Talib Kweli, and I quote, said when working with Kanye West in Calabasas, he says to me, not in his house, but in the studio, how living in Calabasas while Drake was there was hard on him because he felt a competitive energy, and how when Drake moved away, he had this creative rush, which to me, I'm like, yo, how you let this next man affect your energy? He added, this is something I felt, but I didn't speak on it at the time. Now I see how the years played out. Kanye wants to be number one. He wants to be talked about all the time. I feel like he's triggered by Drake. He's triggered by Obama calling him a jackass. And I feel like he wants to be liked, and he's misinformed. He's misinformed. Just a few little like jabs and throws right there at the end. So all this to say, we see two people who engage in some friendly rap competition, and it makes them better, and the fans enjoy it. And then you see Kanye West kind of lose his juice because someone who's really appreciates him. Drake is a huge Kanye West fan, but now this man lives down the street from you, and you lose your creative energy because someone who's good lives down the road.
Yeah.
So there's this like contrast of how it should go and how it did go, and egos and all this shit. So like I'm not really sure even like how to have this conversation, but I think it's just like an interesting parallel, especially when we talk a lot about. I'm always like, where are the videographers around here?
I think it's more common than I think it's just common. Like
What's common?
that thing of people feeling like they have to be the only one of a certain, like it'll be like me and Pete beefing. Like it'll be like I feel like our Pace Me has to be the number one brand from this, and I don't care about any of these other streetwear brands. They can't touch me or whatever. And I don't have that energy, but a lot of people do have that kind of energy.
I will say I would love to see an Art Pay Me versus Beasley like
Celebrity
like
deathmatch.
like I'd love to see you guys each produce some arts that's like dissing Beasley, be like the real kings and queens, like the real royalty line, and like all that kind of stuff.
Shouts to Peter.
Yeah, I love his new line actually. It looks really fantastic. I think that idea of like, it's funny because we've got some other stuff about sports and stuff we talked about, but that idea of like, do you have to be number one? Do you have to have the ball? Do you have to, or do you have the ability to like see the bigger picture and just be what you are, where you are, and understand that, like, my son today started talking he had his very first like hockey game this morning. So it was like a scrimmage game with the other team, and he started talking in the locker room, like while we're getting dressed with other kids. He's like, that guy's our best goalie. That guy's our best player. These are our best players. And so like, I don't know how, and I've never taught him this idea of like needing to be the best of this thing. We're very laid back about sports in our house. But he automatically has this thing of like, I need to compare myself to these people in order to figure out where I'm at. And I think that's a super common thing that we do, is just like, and if you're in that range where number one is even an option, then that becomes overpowering. Like if you're a mediocre basketball player, for an NBA player, like if you're a middle of the road NBA player, you can kind of be like, all right, I'll get my minutes, I'll get my points, whatever. But it's when you are potentially
like that top 15.
the best, you can't, like, you have a hard time working with other people if in a lot of cases that's the mentality.
But Duane, should you not feel like you have the best streetwear brand ever?
Yes, I think, and I'm gonna bring it back to sports too, because I'm the same way. Like, I get on the basketball court, I'm busting your ass.
Right.
However, it's knowing your role and knowing, and I just don't feel like it's productive to have negative energy for people that are as good or potentially better than you.
What if the energy is not negative? Because there's a difference between having, I want to be the best energy. Like, you can say, you know what, Peter, I fuck with your shit, but I'm gonna sell more pieces than you. And I don't hope that you sell less pieces. I hope you also sell pieces. But I'm trying to sell more pieces than you.
Right, but I think that's the difference. It's like Nicki Minaj and every other female rapper that comes out. It's like Nicki she wants them to sell less. She wants them to fail.
Right.
She wants to be the best female rapper, period.
Right.
And
but shouldn't
everybody
you want
else
to compete
not.
against like everybody at their best if you want to be the best instead of competing against nobody?
Right. And
That was
feel
always
like,
kind of my thing.
I
Like,
agree.
I don't want to play unless I know we're gonna compete.
Yeah.
Like, to me, rolling over you is like not fun. It's just like get it over with kind of thing.
Right. I feel like the better Pete does with his collections, the more I'm like, okay. The way he presented his collection at Atlantic Fashion Week was like, I gave him mad. I was like, yo.
Right.
Next year, I'm stepping my shit up.
Yeah. And that's what we need.
Right.
But that's
a positive way of doing that.
Right.
That's you saying like, okay, you're good, I'm gonna get better.
Right.
That's not the same as what Kanye's doing, who's like, he's really good, fuck him, I'm gonna go somewhere else. I'm very angry and upset about this. Like, my energy is hurt my energy.
Yeah, but like, come on, you can't be so focused on someone else's shit that you're distracting like your own stuff. Like,
right, exactly. Like,
stay focused.
Stay focused on you. Like, I don't feel like it's useful. Focus on yourself.
Did you, Lauren? This is a question for you, direct. Did you ever play on teams that played up to good teams and down to bad teams?
100%.
And
100%.
so I think it's a natural thing to sort of like find those comparisons, but like the good teams are just going to be like, we're going to go out and we're going to do this, like we're going to win.
Well, that's what exactly the ones that are focused on. It doesn't matter. The ones that are consistent, that are always playing, that are always aiming to play to the best of their abilities, not well enough to beat that team.
Yeah.
You know, those the ones that can be like more emotionally consistent that I think do better in the long run when it comes to like championship time.
You're suggesting Kanye West might not be the most emotionally consistent?
I think we know.
Track record would demonstrate that potentially not.
No, that's a very good point about team, because I've definitely seen that. Yeah, like they're playing down and playing up, and emotional consistency probably would.
My hockey team is we are very bad. Like I play in an adult beginner league, and we're pretty bad. We're 0-8 this year.
You are pretty bad.
We are pretty bad. We have lost every game by 2 or 3 goals to the best team in the league.
And the worst
to the second worst team in the league.
Emotionally consistent.
Because we literally are just like, let's try to beat this team instead of just like, let's play our game and do what we do.
Yeah.
And if we did that, like we have a good team. If we did that, we would win the occasional hockey game.
Yeah.
But we don't, because we spend all that time, all that energy, and all that effort. Every day we go in the locker room before every game. We have a game tomorrow night. The guys are going to start with what place is the team we're playing in.
I hate that.
Every single week, they bring up the stats and go, these guys have 5 wins. And you're like, guys, maybe we need a different strategy other than checking out their wins, because we haven't won a game.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I hate that.
Play to your own strengths, you know?
So how do we? Because I feel the sentiment. I don't have no shade. I don't have no problem. I want all the other video people and the production people to win. But what is a healthy way for me to say, you motherfuckers need to step your shit up because it's motivating to me?
I don't think you need to tell them that. I think you just need to keep getting better yourself. And if they don't want to get better, then like what Lauren said, sometimes you're just gonna play a shitty team, and you can't step down or expect them to play better. You just gotta blow them out, and hopefully
That's
they know
true.
better.
Yeah, respectfully.
true.
Respectfully, yeah. But you just go do your thing.
Yeah, but I'm kind of framing it in terms of like in growing the landscape of like our creative community and like tearing away some of those silos that people often work
Well,
in.
I really think the best way to do it is for you to continually produce your best work. You know, you pushing yourself encourages other people to step outside the box and push themselves. And when there comes time for a potential collaborative opportunity, I know you're going to extend that invite. And if people want to join in, that's awesome. If they don't, okay, well then that's their business, right? You're going to keep going.
You right.
I regularly meet with people that are in the same industry as me that are looking for like I built a website for a social media consultant like a month or 2 ago. She's in the same business I am. She's arguably going for the same clients, and I was like, all right, I'll help you do that. I'm still going to try and beat you, but like I can still help you do that. I'll regularly meet with people who are doing similar things to me, who will then ask like, how do you do these things? And I'm like, okay, well, there are some things I'm not going to tell you, but in general, you just like I will still meet with anyone about any topics. People have been like, I want to get into the thing you're doing. I'm like, okay, here's how you do it. I'm like, good luck. But that's it. Yeah. I think that if and it's the same vein as that, if you're showing people what they can aspire to, then it's going to bring them up to you, right? To where you might feel them nipping at your heels to push. But I don't think there's any other way that you can really. You can't just be like, get better so I can be better. Like it's.
I be having that rapper energy, that like hip hop energy. Like I'm the fucking best, and that's how it is. And nothing against none of y'all, but you ain't better than me. And I feel like
so I can get better.
Right. So it's like I want to be my best, because then people will say, "Oh shit, look, do you see what he did? Oh shit, So all right. Just keep doing me.
I just think you're at the point where you may need to look outside of Halifax and say, these are the people who are doing the best, period. And these are who I need to make my peers.
Thinking beyond the barriers of our geographic location.
You might be a big fish in a really small little fishbowl. You gotta leap out of that fishbowl into a bigger fishbowl or the ocean.
Yeah. Thank you all. I appreciate that. Last topic, quick, because we gotta talk about this, because we were not gonna be able to talk about it next week. KD versus Draymond.
Yeah.
Y'all hear about this?
No.
Lauren?
You know I'm not. And I was in Vancouver all week, so you have lots of a chance that I'm hearing shit.
So Golden State Warriors.
So educate me, okay.
Dynasty in the NBA. They got KD. They beat LeBron in Cleveland 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row, right?
I can't even remember now.
Yeah,
I think
they just keep winning. So
yeah.
basically what happened was KD got one more year potentially, or he's either done this year or he's staying for one more year. Draymond Green is the one who got on the phone after they lost to Cleveland and recruited KD to come to Golden State because if he was on their team, there's no way they were going to lose. It's true. Everybody knows that KD, after seeing what LeBron has done and being like, I'm going to go here, I'm going to win, I'm going to go here, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. Basically, KD has option to do whatever he wants to do. Draymond looked at him in the fourth quarter of the game. It was actually at the end of the game, going into overtime, and he looks over at him and he basically said, "We already know you ain't here for the team, so fuck you. And we won before you got here, so if you want to leave, get the fuck out of here." This is during the game.
His own teammates.
His own teammates. During the game.
And it was because he wasn't passing the ball.
Durant wanted the ball. Draymond took the ball up on a rebound and turned it over, and then the game went to overtime. So KD was mad because he wanted the ball. Draymond wouldn't give it up. Draymond said, "We was winning before you, and we already know you don't want to be here. So get the fuck going." So now we're having conversations about working with people or having clients and having working relationships with people you can't fucking stand. And how do you accomplish the goal of a successful video project or completing a contract or winning a championship when you're working with people you don't fucking like?
I think you gotta understand what you're trying to sacrifice to get the win, though. Like I was always that person. I was like, if you don't want to be here, get the fuck out.
Right.
Because the emotional vampire energy suck. Cancer, man, get out of here.
Right.
It's in my experience, it's rarely, if ever, been worth it.
To stay.
Yeah, you don't want them to stay. There's always a pity party around people like that. And so it isn't ever just one person. It becomes 2, 3, 4, 5 people that start to get all negative about whatever, and then it just drags the entire team down. Like, that one person is rarely so good that they're the make or break. It's not to say that never happens, but eventually, you know, I find the team overcomes versus imploding because they're missing one stud.
So you were the LeBron James of your team.
Probably.
So this is what we hear, the LeBron of volleyball. I have always been the KD guy in this situation. Well, probably worse actually than the KD. And not the KD guy, the Draymond equivalent.
Okay.
Just like, get the hell out of here, yeah.
Like I mostly, like when I played in the basketball leagues here, like a lot of guys I played with, actually one of your
William.
Yes, from your crew. From the new breed. He was my teammate. So like a lot of these guys played out of
that shirt,
pro
by the way.
Oh, it's so sick.
They played university ball. And here I am, just some street baller who has some athletic ability and can keep up, but really I don't know the game like they know it. So I was constantly getting fucking yelled at by these guys for not standing in the right place, for not doing the right thing and not taking the right shot, or I shouldn't have shot the ball at all. I should just fucking pass it, go sit in the post,
But
even though I'm smaller than them.
It's different. It's attitude, though. Like, if we were on a team and I knew that you were like trying to get better and you were doing your best and, you know, you were doing it for your own ego or whatever, that's totally different. Like, we can play together because we'll work it out. We'll find the things that you're good at and we'll find the things that I'm good at and we'll do it because we're both attitude-wise going to work together. But if you're doing that because you're like, no, I'm better than you and fuck you, it's my show, well, then we're going to have a problem.
Okay,
So it depends on, at least to me, it depends on like the intent.
So my attitude was never bad. My attitude is the same as it is.
So whatever. So to
here.
me, sounds like the other guys were just egotistical.
Okay, so
You're suggesting the new breed aren't a bunch of stand-up
no,
guys?
it wasn't. I'm not picking on them
Listen to that
specifically.
name.
I'm not picking on new breed
Sounds
specifically.
so good.
But I'm picking on my general overall experience in playing in basketball leagues, even in Bermuda a little bit. It's just there's always a few people on the team who are the lead scorers or whatever who feel like they can yell at you or tell you what to do or whatever.
It's also league basketball.
I know.
Okay, so let's
chill.
talk. Yeah, okay, so then let's talk about these similar parallels, like in our workplace,
Right?
Because that's something that we may or may not deal with more often than league basketball.
Everyone knows what it's like to have a team member that doesn't. They're just a drain. People that complain a lot, people that don't want to work hard, people that are just kind of like, the thorn in the side of the thing that seems to work for everybody else.
Right.
So I guess what my question is, how do you deal with the people who are just limited in skill or limited in ability, but they're hard workers? Their mind and head is in the right place. They just don't have as much natural talent, or maybe not even natural talent, just talent in general as other people.
For me, it's always been: is it a matter of are they hurting, or are they just not helping enough? And if someone's just not helping enough, but they have a great attitude and they're like the kind of person you want to be around and work with, then I'm fine with that. Look, we'll stumble you along as much as we have to, as long as you're making this teamwork better. But the second that someone is hurting and starting to bring it down, it has to be a real quick. And one of the things that I've actually found is that getting to the root of what people's intention, ambition, motivation is can often lead to you having a better understanding and them having a better, my wife's office has a couple of people that have never been able to get along properly. Two people who just have constantly been at each other's throats. They're both wonderful at their job. They're just constantly at each other. And we just had a staff meeting and they sat by each other and they were chatting with each other. And they were like, hey, we're going to go do this. You and I can go do that together. And I was like, we left and I was like, what happened that I don't know about? And it was like, oh, they just finally figured out that they weren't trying to ruin each other's lives.
They didn't have a shared context.
Yeah. And then when they got that,
exactly,
you were like, oh, we're good. So I think a lot of those problems can be solved by having really uncomfortable conversations about, hey, why are you being such an asshole? Why can't you get your shit together?
Yep.
Why are you complaining all the time? Is there something we can fix? If there is, let's fix it. If they're not, you're what's broken. Get the fuck out. End of story. And it's hard. I mean, it's harder to do that with a client, but you can fire a client.
And you should. Because you're, if you talk about rating A, B, C, and D clients, your D clients are going to take up the majority of your time for the least amount of return.
Yep.
Get rid of your D clients.
Yeah.
As painful as it is, you're going to think, oh, they're going to, make a poor recommendation. They're going to hurt my reputation. Whatever. It's one. And if they're complaining, they're probably complaining to people that are like them. In which case, you probably don't want to work with those people either. Yeah. Your A clients will word of mouth find you more A clients.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We talk a lot about the 80-20 rule, about 20% of your effort is 80%. And it's the same with clients. 20% of your clients make you 80% of your revenue.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that other 80%, if you're not enjoying being with them,
double down, try to find more
20s.
Exactly.
I think in general, we've had this idea. I was talking to someone about this, about social media the other day, and they were saying, shouldn't I be on all these platforms? And I'm not having great growth on this one. And I'm like, anything you're not having great growth on, walk away from it. This idea that we have to be great at all of the things. Right. It's no, you have a great niche market, go after it. Put way more of your effort into that one thing. Mm-hmm. And I think, I think it's the same with people. If it's working, let's double down on that thing. And if it's not, let's walk away from it and do something more productive. I had to bring it back to the sports really briefly. Yeah. So one of my high school teammates. So I've been the captain of most teams I've ever played on, and I've never been the best player on the team.
Brag.
And I've never been the best player on the team. I'm the guy who is generally pretty organized, pretty consistent, do well with the team. We had a guy when I was in grade 11 that started playing football for us. And he was a rather large man playing offensive line. Now, he went on to be the first overall pick in the CFL draft, to have a several-year-long NFL career and a very long CFL career. But when he came into that team, he was enormous, and he was lazy, and he didn't do his job, and it took people actually getting on his back. It took a coach yelling at him, In fact, we were trying to push a 2-man sled, which is you've got 2 bags and 2 linemen are trying to push this down the field. And every time they yelled hit, I would spin the sled on him because he just wasn't doing it. And he got yelled at for this. And one time he finally got fed up with being yelled at and he hit it as hard as he could. And he almost broke my ankle because this sled just spun around at top speed. And then he unleashed that on any person who was ever in his way. And he became the best football player in the province, one of the best football players in the country, and went on to do that. So you're going to have people that are like, because he was a pain in the ass his first year because he was cocky and he wasn't that good despite the fact that he had all the skills that he should be. But when you finally get that person firing on all cylinders and you get them going forward, it can be amazing what they're able to actually accomplish.
You said something about the same context or something.
Yeah, you have to have a shared context.
Shared context.
When you're trying to work with somebody. If you don't have a shared context, that's usually when you're butting heads with someone. You're not on the same page about something, or you might be misassuming someone else's perspective.
Yeah. Take it from Lauren. Take it from Mike. That's how you get shit done. That's all, folks. That's a great episode. Lauren, we didn't get to hear much from you this week. I wish we could have heard more of your sweet serenade, but
it's all
next week.
Hosted by me, people.
There's gonna
All
be
ladies, all night.
Only the ladies will be on to talk Tinder and titties and all the tantalizing things that happen.
Guess so.
You see titties on Tinder?
You see titties on Tinder?
I don't know.
I guess we're just
I don't know. Why are we talking titties?
He just uses T words. He's alliterating.
Oh, okay.
Tune in. There might be titties.
I mean, you could just show that out on every episode. Just be like, tune in next week because maybe. Who knows? You're all
Maybe.
Speaking of titties, when I was in Vegas, I bought a pack of playing cards that had all naked women on them.
Nice.
Lots of titties. 52 pairs of titties, actually.
Okay.
I'm glad you said Paris.
Me too. I was going to say 52.
Is it?
That'd be that would be
Were
26.
there 26 women or were there 52 women?
52 cards.
Just one.
54, actually, because there's 2 jokers.
What was on the jokers?
Titties. Mike wasn't paying attention. Listen, everybody. Make sure that if you're listening on Apple, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're on Spotify, make sure you download every episode every week. We're coming to you every Tuesday. Apologies to those on the Facebook and on YouTube. I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do this video thing because I got to figure out some ways to edit it because it's much more time consuming now that we've got 4 freaking cameras.
Yeah.
But I'm working on some things. So tune in this week. We'll be up on our video platforms for sure. In the meantime, y'all got anything else you want? Mike, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you for coming. As always, you're a friend of the show. So whenever you got good ideas and good topics and shit, where's the website?
It's coming. You sent me. I sent everyone copy the website.
I own notes.
I sent this and I was like this, and then he sent me back a novel in a single text message, like one text message that said 400 things, and I was like, I'll just copy and paste that into something a human could use. So I'm implementing the changes. Some of them were like, they're a little bit technical as to how to do them properly, and some of them take a little more manual labor, but I'm implementing the changes that you have come up with, and we're getting there.
Good man.
We're going to get a full bio for Lauren other than
my
just
God.
like, I'm Lauren. It's good to be here. So we'll,
Just like to stay,
we got a few pieces.
under the radar.
Mysterious. No, I understand.
Mysterious.
Yeah.
Website's coming soon.
Just coming soon.
CTN Podcast, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, changing there to podcast. Prior, anything else? That's it?
Well, the potential name for the Atlantic CFL team, Atlantic Schooners.
Oh, that's...
Oh, they're actually going to go back to that name, eh?
So Atlantic Schooners is a potential CFL name for our Halifax team. Duane's face doesn't look impressed. You're not gonna buy schooner merchandise and memorabilia.
I saw the old name. I was like, I'm glad they're doing a new name, and now I'm like, okay, I'm not feeling that.
The Atlantic Schooners.
Sounds like we're just naming everything after shitty beers. Yeah. Like we've got the Halifax Mooseheads, we got the Atlantic Schooners. Like, Halifax Wanderers will be some other terrible beer that will go
Yeah.
I
through.
mean, like Nova Scotia's got like mutant coyotes. Like What?
What?
Well, like the coyotes here, like they're mixed with wolves and stuff, so they're bigger than normal coyotes. So like,
think it
why
sounds
can't we talk
badass.
about coyotes? Yeah, they got badass coyotes here. Like, why can't we be something like that?
I think the thing we typically do whenever we're naming anything in Nova Scotia, like anytime I see anyone bring up a project that has to do with Nova
What's
Scotia,
the
they either
most
have a picture of a boat or a
traditional-
lighthouse or an ocean.
Yeah.
And it's like, we got other stuff, right? Like I get that.
Like mutant coyotes.
Like mutant coyotes.
Oh, man.
Please tell me they named this team the Atlantic Mutant Coyotes. That'd be fantastic.
Do it.
Submit your bid.
Do it now.
Atlantic Mutant Coyotes.
Do it now. We'll see y'all next week, folks.
Yes.
Bye.